think a highlight for me yesterday was in the dressing room when we realized that we're gonna see, I think, 8 or 9 countries this year. Yeah. And play like 12 shows. That sense of adventure and that this is the start of that felt very special. It's gonna be a crazy year. Off we go. Off it's back.
Hello, we're Bec and Allison. We're experimental electronic musicians based in Amsterdam. We're also a couple. We're gonna do YouTube now. Get comfy. We're gonna tell you what we did this week. Working out, rehearsing a new song, looking for a new photographer, buying a digicam, playing a show, and reflecting on what makes a good show. We also found a concrete banana. Nice to meet you.
Someone should have told me about 20 years ago how exercise can actually make you feel really good. I feel like they probably did, but the truth is that I was absolutely not ready to hear it because my whole concept of exercise was the beep test in high school and how fucking traumatic that was. Regular exercise didn't enter my life until about a year ago when Bec and I started to do group fitness classes at our gym. The ones that have really loud music, the trainer with the headset. You know, it just always ended up happening. It was like Murphy's Law or something, that Bec would end up standing directly in front of the PA speaker and have an absolutely awful sensory experience during these classes. Tried that for a while, but we would always leave the classes feeling super stressed, way more stressed than we did when we went in. So we weren't getting the positive effects of the exercise really. And every time we would come out of the classes, we would see the rest of the gym with all the equipment, and it looked really chill. It looked really relaxing. So we were like, okay, fuck it. We'll make an appointment with a trainer and we'll go and get ourselves a routine and we'll just become one of these people. We've been going 3 times a week since, and it's been one of the best investments that I feel like I've made in my life. Actually, I can't think of anything else that's been as good as this recently. Bec likes to keep track of her workouts in this little notebook, and she keeps tabs of which weights she's up to. And because I'm a chaos person, I just have a notes folder on my phone, and they're all in different notes, and you know. For the last 9 months, we've been touring with our AV rig, which we designed with the help of our friend Emmanuel Biard, who's an amazing stage designer. In the rig, we have 2 projectors, a collection of lights including some par cans, some smoke machines, and 2 Martin atomic stroboscopes with the colours on them. But the best part of the rig are these LED holographic fans. The fans let us be able to display video in a really interesting way, as well as textures and shapes that look like they're just hovering in thin air. They're really special. I've never seen really anything like it. It's just that they make a lot of noise, but it doesn't really matter because we're such a loud electronic act anyway. In addition to that, we have vocal effects on this vocal effects board that you can see here. It has a bunch of pedals. Everything else comes from Ableton. So all of the audio effects that are on the rest of the tracks that you can hear, that happens with the push. And we also have our lighting coming from Ableton. Actually, all the data comes from Ableton, which lets us be able to be super self-sufficient on stage and do everything ourselves, which is really great because sometimes you don't really know where you're going to play and how much help you're going to have.
Okay, does it feel good to you?
Yeah.
Alright, shall we try the new song? Yeah, okay.
I think you're scared of me. 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 You, yeah. Scared of me. You, I got more, yeah.
Sick! I'm so hyped to do that tonight.
Today I've been looking for photographers that we could possibly work with for a new photo shoot. Now we're making new songs and we're changing our show again. It kind of feels like it's time for a new energy. So yes, So where to start to find a photographer that you really like? Allison and I have grown this habit where on Instagram, where anything we like, we will save in folders. So there's a folder for stage outfits, light designers, producers. In my own Instagram, there's so many folders. There's folders for chairs, animals, fonts, life coding, pretty houses, mental health, like there's many. But today, this habit came in really handy because now I could go through these folders and find which photographers felt like maybe a good match with what we're doing right now. I ended up finding 17 photographers that are incredible. The variety of their style is wide. Also, some of them are completely out of our league. But nevertheless, I would just love to share some of my thoughts on why I think they're amazing. And in the end, I'll share with you which ones I think might actually work out.
Vasovu, surreal, glow, absurdism. They're in great company with artists like Yule and Caroline Polacek. Their photos feel quite lonely somehow. Amalia and Caroline are recent friends of ours. They're specialized in scene building and styling. I love how they bring imaginary landscapes and rave culture together. Jeremy Soma, look at those colors and eyes. Essentialism, color popping, and surreal. Sometimes dreamy, sometimes focused. Bianca Paduzzi, as if they're scenes straight out of a fairy tale. Even the more casual portrait is full of fantasy. Zara Reis, more of an analog feel, such a nice sense of warmth. Even in the studio setting with Seftaliza, it feels like the sun is there. Bora, I'm such a big fan! Bora has created another universe and I'm here for it. Virtual fashion, hyper-reality, everything, they're amazing. Craig Fleming, completely different thing. Poignant, monochrome, it feels like instead of watching, we are being watched. Camille Leprince, romance, tragedy. It's the Greek legends all over again, but better? The variety of techniques is intriguing too. Evans Jenkins is, aside from an awesome photographer, also married to tapestry maker Moira Quinn. Their series of couple portraits are instant family classics. Aiden Zamiri. Storytelling is a keyword here, I'd say. What do these two colored eyes see? Why is her face lit up like that? And what is Carolyn listening to? Mr. P, big vibe switch. A whole other kind of portrait, right? Fun, color, out in the wild. I also like how there are hardly any blacks, kind of misty somehow. Paul Koiker. The coloring with the sharpness makes it feel like a strange time warp. Stillness, using light as if painting instead of photographing. Hey, Igelina. Steph Wilson. Again, straight out of a fairy tale, right? I guess my taste is becoming clearer and clearer. These portrait women clearly won't be restrained and do exactly what they want. Becca Shokoshvili. Futurist, unearthly, isolated, pristine, smooth. Beautiful coloring too. Angel K. Drama. Very baroque, so much is happening. Soft images of sharp events. Clearly so much work has went into this. Dan Hutting. Film, light leaks, nostalgia. These people could be famous or they could be your neighbor. Dan makes every person look like they're your old friend from high school. Milos Nejesleb, the widest and most theatrical of all. Less about the faces and more about composition. Play, deceiving simplicity.
Wow, what a list, right? It's so cool to just dive into other people's work. Especially, I think, with other disciplines that are not the one that you're specialized in yourself. Because I don't really know how it's made. It's kind of, it's still a bit magical to me. Anyway, so like I said, many of those artists were completely out of our league. But there actually are a few who are smaller artists who might actually be interested in collaborating. Here are the ones that I think might be a really cool match. Pretty different in style, so now it's time for me to go to Allison and see what she thinks about it. I'll keep you posted. Perhaps one of those photographers will be our collaborator for a new shoot.
Remember these? These are back in fashion, which makes me feel super old. Digital cameras, or digicams, from the 2000s have come back in a really big way recently, because the photos that you can take with these look pretty vintage now in comparison to what we get with our iPhones. The iPhones are now like a Ferrari of a camera, and sometimes reality's just a bit too much. We want to have a bit of nostalgia. When people tie an aesthetic to a piece of equipment, usually it's because that piece of equipment is functioning in a way that maybe it's not supposed to, but as a byproduct, it kind of creates a vibe. And it's no exception with these cameras. The sensors that came with these cameras, these digicams, were called CCD sensors, and they didn't do a very good job of picking up colors and reproducing them in a realistic way. And that's what kind of gives it that character. In addition to that, it's super iconic when you pop the flash on and you take a photo of someone in a pretty dark space with the flash on full. It just has that really Y2K aesthetic to it. I've been so influenced by the content I've been seeing lately on my TikTok of other creators buying these that I decided to buy two, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to get one that wasn't that old or one that was actually prehistoric. I can now confidently say after a week of trying these that I prefer the prehistoric one. This is from 2004 and it has a whopping 4 megapixels and an optical zoom and a super clunky, beautiful Y2K early electronics kind of build to it, which just feels like I'm on my holiday with my parents again when I'm 10 years old and I'm taking photos of seagulls that no one's ever going to look at ever again. So it has that quality to it. This one, on the other hand, I think is not that old. I think it's from the 2010s, and it's I think 10 megapixels. I'm not a camera fanatic, so I'm going to get some of this stuff wrong. I'm just a hobbyist. But this one is the Canon PowerShot A430, and this is a Canon S90. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram use these for street photography, and it actually looks really good. But I found that when I just pop this on auto and take photos myself, the photos look kind of trash. I'm not interested in it. So I think you really need to know what you're doing with the camera, and you know how to set your aperture and your ISO, and then I think you can have some fun with this. I wanted to buy a camera that would kind of have the same effect as, you know, using a disposable film camera. We want to take it backstage and when we go on tour and just get some like happy vibe snaps while we're, you know, just going around and doing stuff and being awesome. So I didn't want to do a whole lot of post-processing. I don't necessarily want to spend a whole lot of time getting the perfect composition or, you know, judging the light settings and getting the white balance right. I'm just not interested. I just want to like get this out of my back pocket. I mean, mind you, I'd have to have the biggest back pocket in the world. And I want to take a bunch of photos and have it look already kind of aesthetic and fun. This one's also nice. More for video, actually. I'll show you a little bit of the video. So this is what the video looks like. It's got this kind of strange color bleeding kind of effect on it at the moment, and I can't really seem to work out how to get rid of it. But as you can see, it kind of functions a little bit too well as a camera, in my opinion. I prefer the really choppy video that this one puts out. Oh yeah, now we've got the vibe. Check this out. After the 2 days of research that I did, the takeaway that I got from it was you just need any digicam with the CCD sensor. And if you want that kind of grainy, if you want what I'm looking for, the same sort of thing, like I just want to set, forget, take a photo, upload it later, and hopefully it has some vibe to it, get one with barely any megapixels. Because if you get something too good, you'll just have too many options. We want no options. Give us limitations. That's my exploration into digicams. I guess you'll see a lot more of these kinds of photos popping up on our Instagram.
What do you think your defining characteristic is?
Sweetness.
There it is. There's the sweetness.
And butts.
Also, your butt.
ready! Go! This is the life when you are playing after midnight in the Netherlands in winter. You leave the house when it's dark. Good vibes. He's here! Yeah. Oh, do you need more space for your legs?
No.
Gonna have a little power nap before we start setting up. So luckily Mert and Allison were happy to go to the general space. So now I've got this whole room to myself.
Okay, so Allison, what happened?
The venue's lights are from AliExpress and only have channels for the colors. They don't usually, lights have a channel for what you call the dimmer. So like when the dimmer when it comes on and off, right? And so then you can like say every time that the light comes on, I'm going to have the red at 100% and a little bit of green, and therefore it's going to be pink, but it's going to be pink whenever the dim gets to the top and goes back down again. But these lights don't have that. They want you to do any kind of movement on the color channel by itself. And you can see our shit's not set up to do that. So now I'm having like a slight panic attack, but we're going to work it out.
Oh no, all these wiggles are for nothing.
Oh, it's squeezing my legs. Wait till it starts like patting you on the bum. Ooh, oh. Oh. Oh, this is really good. Does it? Have you tried to stretch? Matt's never had a massage. Fucking hell. This is how you start. Oh, it's going in the anus. How is it to have this machine up your bum hole?
You have a lot of thoughts, a lot of reflections on your mind.
We were talking this morning about what are the things that make a show successful in our eyes. Like what categorizes the difference between a good one and a bad one. These categories we came up with is like if the stage itself is good, like if the venue is like
A good sound system.
That's one category.
Like, is there a stage at all?
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, just like the facilities. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and this was indeed like last night we played in a real, like a nightclub, and the stage was nearly 2 meters tall. So it had a really good presentation angle for the performer, which was really great. The second thing that we think makes or breaks a good show is the technicians. And yesterday we had really nice people at the venue, so
super relaxed.
Yeah.
The moment we arrived, they're present. They show us the building. It's the little things that make you feel at home.
Yeah, and they see what's needed in your rider, and they've already anticipated all the things that you might come and ask them about, and they've told you up front that it's going to be fine. So that gave us like a lot of really good feelings. The third thing we said was the fee for performing, and it was a good fee. So this gave us also a nice feeling. And the fourth thing, which I think is crucial, is where the audience's head is at during a show.
The vibe of the audience.
Yeah, the vibe.
Just like so, which of course obviously affects the entire concert. So if people are really excited, they're raving. Every time you do something small, everyone goes silent and concentrated. When you do something big or you do a big gesture, everyone screams. Like those are the good shows in that sense. But when it's bad, the people are distracted. They're talking through it. They're having their own sub parties in the hall. Like they're just doing their own thing. You're basically the backdrop.
Yeah, or at worst they heckle, or they yell things at you. This wasn't like that. So yeah, reflecting on last night, it seemed like most people there last night were extremely drunk, or took some party vitamins. Maybe we were not going to provide them the kind of experience that they were hoping for. Like, when you've taken some vitamins, you probably want a pretty consistent kind of club dance party. And we're not that. They were happy when we played the big beats. They liked the big beats. They did the woo and the yeah. But when we went to a small song, they just almost talked as loud as Bec's microphone.
So much so that I couldn't use all my vocal effects because their voices were coming into my mic and started fucking up my autotune and harmonization.
Yeah.
And yeah, so right after, during the show and right after the show, we felt pretty uncomfortable and kind of disillusioned a bit. Yeah, it's just a moment of truth when you enter the stage, and the one thing that no one can control, or at least not on our side, is the vibe in the crowd. And
there's nothing we can do about that.
It's like being friends, wanting to be friends, and you're kind of like, you cannot force friendship. But then if all you can do is just be really genuine and give it your all, and give a bit more, see if they bite. But then at some point it flips and it becomes awkward, and at some point a bit painful, because you're just like you're then, if you're being dissed again and again, it's just you just start to feel really vulnerable. And then with a friendship or possible friendship, you can walk away. But when you're in a show, you gotta finish your set. You have your final two big songs where you're kind of like, shit, no, like people, I'm basically just disrupting people's conversations.
Yeah.
And I have already given so much extra that my voice is broken, and now I need to do the final biggest song.
It's funny though, like the way you're describing it sounds like we were really desperate, but like looking back at the footage, it's of course way worse in our head than it is actually in the hall. Like it actually looked like just a gig, And, we're independent artists, and it's at a festival, so there's not a lot of people coming just for us. They're there for the ambience of the festival. And just last night, the ambience of the festival was like just not super compatible with what we do. So that's the roll of the dice, unfortunately. I think that's how it goes.
And then also, there's of course, you just also gotta be a bit aware of the context. We are not gonna fill the hall by ourselves. We rely on the organizer, the promoter, and we've also actually been in the promoter's shoes, so we know that it's really hard to attract an audience to begin with, and especially when you're a young organization, so like a just starting festival or a new venue, which was also the case with this gig. It was a young festival. You just don't know who's gonna come exactly. You're still finding your audience. So yeah, we're in the first year of touring. Our first big show has happened less than a year ago. I was also thinking of that. Yeah. That was like 9 months ago. So it's so early that I think we just have to also brace ourselves a bit that this year there's
Could be
there's
ups and
gonna be
downs.
more of these kind of gigs as well, where we're just pushed to like keep performing and give our best,
Well, that's the
even if the crowd is at
Not
a
into it.
completely different planet.
That's what we were looking at, the videos of last night, like stuff for us to learn is that when, you know, it's all well and good if you get really positive energy from the audience, then you know what to do, you know, and you get that rush and it feels really easy and you feel like you can take risks because you feel like you're held, right? Last night in kind of these kinds of gigs, you don't have that feeling, so all that like
Confidence.
all that confidence and the work that you do on your stage presence, it gets really challenging. You really got to remember your basics and just like, even if the crowd's not feeling it, stand up straight, have like a good, posture and emanate to the audience that you're in control and that this is easy, and you want to make it look like a bit effortless, even if they're not that into it. And we're looking at the videos last night and we just see like, we took a few steps backwards last night. We felt uncomfortable, so we moved a bit too much on stage. We're kind of
Which is
moving around.
funny, yeah. Which is funny because you would expect the opposite. If you're uncomfortable, you're gonna kind of freeze up. But indeed, it's actually much more tempting to just kind of like start bopping. It's kind of like when you're indeed at a party and you feel awkward, you just kind of start going like,
Yeah, doing this.
and which just doesn't make you look cooler at all.
No, it just looks a little insecure if you're the artist and you're like trying to get other people to get into your music by doing this.
It's so hard though.
It is, it's really
Right.
difficult.
It's kind of like we're saying on one hand you need to give more, but then also we're saying but you shouldn't move more. Like it's
a
we're still
fine
figuring it
line.
out.
Yeah, always things to learn, always things to reflect on. This is trusting the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to be soft with ourselves today.